Hey everyone, welcome back to Linux Weekly, Daily Wednesdays, where we sit back, relax, take that midweek break, talk about some of the fun things going on in the world of Linux and open source. I'm Vince Stone, joined every week by Jill Bryan. Everybody watching us live here on Twitch, hanging out in the pre-show, talking about Zanzibar and time and star dates and putting hot sauce on corn. If you missed all that, you can't make the live show. Hey, we got you covered. Over on Patreon, we got an RSS feed. Plug that in. Listen to it anytime you want. But plenty to talk about. Jill's going to tell you about a big update for OSL. I'm going to tell you about, let's see, making your own cable TV network. That sounds kind of fun. Got some good news on fan curves because this is a Linux show. And if you're not interested in fan curves, what are you doing here? And maybe, just maybe, we'll put our peepers on carnivorous plants using a Raspberry Pi. Yeah. But first, a little bit of catch up, see what's going on. What's new with you, Jill? Got anything exciting going on over there in the world of not having a Nicolas Cage poster in your background?
No. Yes. So I had a great day celebrating my birthday with my Steve husband at Disneyland Friday. Yay!
Happy 70th birthday, Steve.
Oh, yeah. So it's Disneyland's 70th birthday, not mine, but I'm...
Canonically in our Discord, Steve is 70
mid-50s.
now. All right?
So,
you just got to get used to it, Steve. You're now 70.
yeah. And we didn't, last week I had said we were going to go to the Renaissance Pleasure Fair last weekend, and we decided not to take a rest because we had gone to Disneyland. So this weekend we're going to the Renaissance Pleasure Fair. So Steve husband can show off his beautiful costume of a bird nesting on his head. And it's wonderful. So looking forward to that. But I wanted to tell everyone about a wonderful gift I got from someone who's in our chat right now. Community Tea Time, otherwise known as my friend Monica from Atlanta. And she just so happens to work at Thunderbird as well. And she's my bestie there in Atlanta. And she sent me this beautiful handmade birthday card of a penguin. It's so amazing. Of a penguin dressed in a bee costume holding a gift.
I had that Blind Melon
best present
album
ever. Isn't that cute? It's so adorbs.
Truly terrifying, Jill.
And
you'd use it as a guard bee.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. It's a guard bee. And it's going to, this card is going to be displayed in front of my computer that is bee themed. And she had sent me a sticker a few weeks ago, a sweet little bee sticker that I put on my computer that's bee themed and inspired. So this is where that is going.
The last thing you need in your life is an inspired bee. Why?
Yeah,
an inspired bee, shifty. They get up to stuff, man. You come home, be like, what's going on? And bee might be like, okay. I've had inspiration.
A fierce guard.
What have you done
yes.
this time, bee?
And then she also sent me this beautiful piece of calligraphy that she did of my name. Look at that, then. Monica is really talented.
Does it say,
that's amazing. It says
ill.
My name, Jill.
Ill.
Ill. And that, I mean, these both, I should frame both of these, actually. They're amazing.
You better put that bee behind glass, man. With its inspiration. You don't want it
so
getting all inspiring. Yeah.
No.
People,
in a good way.
I've been up to a bunch of hardware testing, playing around, doing some stuff, collecting numbers, getting those digits for a mini PC. We talked about that a little bit last week. Like what qualifies being a mini PC? I'm sure everybody's got their own different opinion. This is truly a mini PC. But it's not one of those little, hey, I'm a fan of them. Like the little N100s, like that Rosda X4 I did. And I'm like, that's cool because they're like super cheap. Then on the other end of that spectrum, you got, practically mid-tier gaming rigs, but they're like $1,200-$1,300, dude. And you're like, that's cool. I'm not going to buy either one of those. And nobody's covering the ones that be like, yeah, I need a PC. Can I get a mini PC? Anybody going to review one of those? And they're like, nah. So I found out like the easiest way to anger and confuse a marketing person is like, why don't you send me a PC that people might buy? You're like, but don't you want to like the Super YOLO and Blinky one? I mean, no. Anyway, that's what I've been working on. Something that I've been saying, a terribly unexciting PC that I'm terribly excited about. Also, I tortured it, so don't worry. Stay tuned. Actually, I put that video up. There's a preview video, which is a full-length video. It's like 8 minutes long, up for the patrons on Interfacing Linux. It's unfinished, but I mean, it's got all the beats in it, all the videos there. I just got to put the sparkles on it and, some extra stuff, but it'll give you the idea. Just traditional, like, hey, go take a look if you want to get an early crack at that. But I'll have all the review bits probably up Friday, maybe Monday. Stay tuned. All right. Last week, we talked about OSL needing about 250 in order to keep everything up and running. And I think we got some good news, didn't we?
Yes, we have some awesome news, Ven. So the open source lab, OSL, at Oregon State University has been operating for 22 years, and they provide infrastructure for over 500 open source projects, including Alpine Linux, BusyBox, Fedora, Debian, Deluge, and they've even supported the Linux kernel in the past, and the Mozilla Foundation. So, and I talked about this last week, that they unfortunately were going to shut down later this year if they couldn't secure $250,000 in committed funds very soon. But we have some great news. The OSL post states, the community response has been incredible. Thanks to your amazing support, our team is funded for the next year. Woohoo! This is a huge relief and lets us focus on building a truly self-sustaining OSL. Me and Ven got the word out here on LWW, and I'm sure that helped, just a little bit and helped them meet their funding goals.
That's right, Joe. We're officially taking full credit for this, right?
No, I wish we could, but I know I did my part, and I know other people who did their part too, that are patrons in chat and whatnot. So that was very exciting. And to help with self-sustainability, the open source lab is seeking a new cost-effective physical home for its core infrastructure with more modern hardware. Their current data center is over 20 years old and needs to be replaced soon, and the university may require OSL to relocate. And finding free or very low-cost hosting between Eugene and Portland, Oregon for approximately 13 to 20 racks and more power-efficient hardware are priorities for, their long-term sustainability. OSL is also focusing on securing multi-year funding commitments to cover operations and these new infrastructure costs. And they are actually asking the Linux community for leads on a few or a low-cost space. If you know of a data center capacity of 13 to 20 racks between Eugene and Portland, Oregon, they need hardware donation leads. Do you have a .org that can donate retired servers, or know data centers or refurbishers who could help? And they're looking for connections and spreading the word. And of course, corporate sponsorships and partnerships. Please consider a multi-year sponsorship, especially if your company benefits from open source. So these are all awesome asks, and I'm hoping that once again the community will come through and help them with all these tasks and to make them a more sustainable open source lab. And so you can reach out to donations at osl.org for any discussions on these fronts. And you can continue to donate on their webpage, which is linked in our show notes. But yeah, the open source lab has done so many good things for us over the years. I mean, gosh, how many distros have I downloaded from them? Many. So I wanted to do my part and help them out, and we wanted to get the word out. So because we need all these awesome open source projects to survive. And we need those to do the show, like FFmpeg. So, very important.
There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Always good to start off with a little bit of good news, and that's definitely it. And usually when you put the bat signal out, everybody's going to come out and help them. And you got to understand, like, the donation model is like that one-time donation model is always dodgy because you'll get that usually, but it's like what they're focused on right now is like we need sustainability, right?
Sustainability, yeah.
And we've even I can speak to that like on a micro thing of being able to do this show, like having like a PayPal donation thing versus like a Patreon. That's like I subscribe to people on Patreon just simply because I can set it for like $10 a week, whatever, and just like give them that. So that's what they're looking for right now. So if you know anybody who's like invested in like, hey, we like to set a multi-year thing, like hook them up, give them a mention. Now, Jill, we are about halfway through May.
Yes, we are. And it is getting very warm.
For a lot of us, might be getting the vapors sitting around.
Yeah, the vapors.
You got to get a little fan out, and like a civilized person, I'm using a red light gel to keep nice and cool. And here's the thing, everybody. If you're getting warm, your GPU is getting warm too. Now, any modern GPU, it's going to spin the fans up and down, it's got the brainy bits built in. You probably never even worry about them. You don't. But you also got to deal with, if you're just leaving it completely up to the GPU, sometimes it's going to get loud for no reason. Sometimes it's not going to get, the fans are not going to spin fast enough and it's going to get way too hot when it really shouldn't be. Or even worse, something I have with the 3060 in this studio is the case temperature is right on that line to where the fans cut off and on.
Oh, yeah.
Permanently. It goes, work, work.
Oh.
And it never stops. It will not stop. So I have to use a tool to just spin a little bit and stay spinning so I can maintain what little bit of sanity I have left. And that's where programs like LACT come in. Not only does it provide all the bits that you normally use for overclocking and just GPU information, it gives you fan curves. These are important. And LACT now has real curves. Previously had sliders, which, it kind of got the job done, but we're used to seeing this. We are used to seeing this. These, you've seen this. Most of you listening right now, you've seen this in your UEFI.
Yeah.
You have.
Yes, we have.
You've looked at it and you're like, I'm going to go in there and like set that. So the computer, you've never done it, but you thought about doing it, which is great. So the latest version of LACT, this is like their big thing. And I was like, this is really cool because I like seeing this stuff on Linux. And this is for AMD and NVIDIA GPUs, might even work with the Intels. But one of the super cool things about this, outside of just having this nice little GUI that you're used to seeing, it's that chart with the nodes in it. You grab it and you move it up and down, like wherever you need it to be, between your speed percentage and the temperature. Super easy to do. But this latest version allows automatic fan mode threshold for NVIDIA GPUs. And that's what I was talking about. You get that enabled with, it would just, the NVIDIA cards want to cut off. They want to cut the fans off. Like that's like, they wake up in the morning, they're like, today's a great day to just cut the fans off. Like that's their goal in life. So if you had this set up, they wouldn't be able to do this. This latest version will still let them completely cut the fans off while having a fan curve. So extra neat stuff. I'm a big fan of LACT. I use it with anything that has a GPU. Like I'm using it right now. I use it on all the AMD systems, even integrated stuff. It gives you your GPU info. If you want to do the overclocking, I don't even mess around with overclocking anymore. I like to think, I just like knowing that I could, right?
Yeah.
I like having that screen. I'm like, I could if I felt like it. And here, this is what the old fan control used to look like, which, they still haven't fixed the images on the page. I got onto you guys last time. Because when I try to zoom, it doesn't, it used to have like it looks like volume sliders, right? The old one's over here on the right, but the new one has sorted that LACT is available for basically anything that runs with Linux, Debian, Ubuntu, Fedora, Arch. There's even a Flatpak available if you want to install LACT, but you want it to like run slower and take up more space on your system. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good to go, man. OpenCL is now a requirement, though, isn't it?
Yeah. So it says it supports OpenCL details, which is awesome, and it has so much more info available, and the GPU version on AMD, and multiple temperature sensors on Intel. I haven't tested this on my Intel Arc. I should see what I get.
I'm not going to test it on my Intel Arc.
Yeah. Yeah, so I had fun with the curves on my AMD GPU.
I have mine to set, this thing just runs at, like, the fans just run at 35% on this thing.
Nice.
It's got like 2 modes, because I'm never in here, like outside of like Saturday night, when we're doing the after shows in for Linux Gamecast, we might be playing a game.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I don't care. I don't care how loud it gets. So it's basically set to, you can get to a certain point, then just 100% of that thing. Cool as you can. Because that 3060, the rendering, DaVinci Resolve, just zzz, and something like that. But yeah, set fan curves. Save your fan curves. Like if you, I'm not trying to dig for perfect silence, but you know, you don't want your GPU to be unnecessarily warm, because like by default, especially with NVIDIA cards, it's going to try to cut the fans off. Why? Because it knows it can deal with the heat, right?
Yeah.
It's like, well, I'm rated to this. If you can put a little air over that, that's going to prolong the life of the electronics. Cooler electronics live longer, period. So keep that in mind. Go set them. Go set them for your, you know, if you build a PC case, you know, go set all your curves and all that. It's great. Play around with it. Have some fun. Live a little.
Yeah. I mean, I always do it in UEFI with my fans and my system, but most people don't. But I always do.
It's
I
that thing.
Like all the noise.
No, there's an argument to be made, you know. If you've never like went into your UEFI, like, all right, that's good. If you've ever been curious. But then again, like if you built your own system, you got Noctua fans, or you got Be Quiets in there, and you've set everything up, you probably want to set up a fan profile. And for, you know, old heads like me and Jill, like that's how you had to do it in UEFI. Like there was no way to control that under Linux for a long time.
Yeah.
So it's just a reflex reaction. Like, yeah, that's where you go to set it. Now there's a bunch of software to do it. And having this for the GPU is good. Nice GUI changes to do that. Just makes life easier. It's way better than NV fan control, which is like this JSON text file that I was using.
Yeah.
Like manually plugging in those variables and like kind of a little bit of guesswork with like whatever fan mode, whatever equaled percentage. So yeah, it's good to see all these niceties. All right. Up next is a musical starring Rick Moranis.
It sure is, Ben. Feed me, Seymour, says the carnivorous plant that feeds on human blood from the 1986 film Little Shop of Horrors. I love that movie when it came out. Well, here is a Raspberry Pi project that developer Black Rabbit 17 used to monitor their carnivorous plants. They state on their GitHub page, the Xenolab Rasp Pi monitor is a cutting-edge semi-autonomous biosurveillance module engineered for the precise care and observation of exotic carnivorous flora. Very cool. The Xenolab Raspberry Pi monitor monitors the temperature, humidity, and soil moisture of the carnivorous pets. And it includes a Raspberry Pi 5 with 8 gigabytes of RAM, and an RGB cooling hat with an OLED display, a 7-inch 8 by 480 touchscreen, a temperature and humidity monitor, a fan to simulate wind. That is so awesome. And 24 RGB LED light for simulating sunlight, a soil moisture sensor, and USB relays so the Raspberry Pi 5 can control all the sensors and fans, and a 12.3-inch megapixel Sony IMX500 camera. So 12.3 megapixel. I mean, not inch. But anyways, this developer built this awesome installation for monitoring his plants, and it's really ingenious. It's kind of funny, Vin, because from the pictures initially, I thought it was really big, a big installation, and no, that's a small unit on a table. So, because the plants are in not very big pots. So I thought they would be in a big pot, but guess not.
I mean, they work just fine in like a little pot. Like, you know, like I think a lot of people. I too have bought a Venus flytrap at the shop and proceeded to like speed run killing it.
Oh,
they don't last very long.
Yeah, I've had one, but mine was big, and mine was in a big pot. So that's why I'm thinking that it would be bigger. But no, they can be small as well.
Yeah, I bought it. And it was like a couple of bucks, and like didn't hang out very long. So this is really cool. Like you know, it can probably monitor plants that don't eat flesh. Probably.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, salt to taste. Bad analogy, but you get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't salt yourself too much.
Well, I actually wonder what the sensors say when a bug is being eaten. Those would be interesting statistics. And this developer, Black Rabbit 17, actually used Tinkercad for the 3D printed models, and says they created this project to have some 3D printing and electronics fun. And all the pictures and assembly are included on the Xenolab Raspberry Monitor GitHub page linked in our show notes. So you can go take a look. This was just really fascinating. Ven found this and put it in our show notes. And I'm like, oh, that's cool.
I mean, you know, when you run across things that just, you know, cover things you enjoy, like Raspberry Pis and plants that eat people, you got to throw it in the show. Give people what they want.
Yeah,
there
exactly.
We go. I thought that was kind of fun, kind of interesting. Another thing I ran across this week is a bit blast of the past type thing, man. Because when you think about it and you're looking around, it's something that just died off. Because we got push notifications, we got playlist for our media, we got our up next on YouTube, and all these things that are just designed to be like, okay, you know, salt, you know, a la carte, figure out what you want. All of them are common, you know, when watching just online video, even music in 2025. Nothing really quite captures cutting on that TV, coming home. This is something a generation has just not really experienced. Just finding a channel that was good enough, but just like letting it roll in the background. That was until now. Now we have Field Station 42, cable and broadcast TV simulator, because why not?
Awesome.
This thing's authentic high too. Why? Because it doesn't just do one channel. This thing rolls all of the channels you program into it in real time at the same time. So if you move from one show to the next, the other one's still playing, man. The other one's still playing. It's still doing its thing in the background. And he's got an entire guide for setting up a set-top box. It even has the on-screen weekly schedule thing. You remember those?
Yeah.
Like the guides? I don't know if he's got a picture of the guide in here.
TV guide. Yeah.
Yeah. It is quite fascinating. And you can program your own commercial breaks, sign-offs, Powerpuff Girls. And yeah, this thing is beyond legit for creating a your own TV station. Like I'm 100% here for it. Just being able to keep track of everything that's playing, like I want Cartoon Network, I want, whatever, it could be sports ball, and being able to relive that experience of having to cycle through stuff, because there was pre-TiVo. And things radically changed when I got my TiVo. And I got a TiVo in like 2001, man. And I hacked that thing in like 2001 in like 45 minutes after I got it home.
Yeah.
I built my own 3.5 millimeter adapter cable to RS-232, get in there, touched a file. And TiVo was cool. TiVo, how did you find out how to do this? You went to the TiVo website and here's how you hack it, bro. It was a great time. And really all you need for this is a Raspberry Pi and a healthy dose of the good old-fashioned RTFM, because he does make it a point. And it's like, this is not an easy thing to get up and running, but there is a complete guide on the GitHub. And, is this practical? No. But is it really cool? Yes. And I like to throw
absolutely
really cool stuff. There's even a guide. I'm like, here's how you can connect it to a TV. You don't need to hook it up to a CRT TV. And of course, you can adapt it to this. Like, think about if you needed to set up, even at work, having something like this to set up like a closed system for like training. There's the infrastructure, the bones are there to do something along those lines. So
that's a perfect use, Finn.
Yeah, keep that in mind. Keep it in mind. It'll be in the show notes if you want to go play with it. It's there. I think it's really cool. And of course, you can print out your own set-top box.
It's so cool. Yeah, it looks like an old cable box.
Right? Wild. Absolute insanity. Love to see it. I don't miss those days. Not even a little bit. But there was something to
all those commercials.
There was something, one of the byproducts of that, we were talking with chat before we started recording was, I was talking about Twitch streamers that just get up and leave, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I think, I don't even think it's a direct result of like growing up, like I needed that background noise. And part of that background noise is come home, cut on the TV and go do all the other stuff you need to do, right?
Yeah.
And to this day in 2025, I come home, I'll fire up a Twitch stream or something like that and just let that roll in the background. So I still like that type of experience.
Yeah.
The randomness and discovering things and, but it's still not the same. Like programming it for yourself, like that might be neat. And, you could have your own X-Files channel. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
We can do an X-Files channel. We can do a Doctor Who channel. What channel would you want, Jill?
Of course, the Star Trek channel.
Star Trek channel.
Yeah.
why would you just do Star Trek channel? You can have a TNG channel. You can have a Enterprise channel. You can have a DS9 channel. You can have a TOS channel. No Discovery. Well, you know what? Discovery, you can. Yeah, okay, fine. Discovery can have its own. Anybody I'm leaving out?
Well, you got DS9 in there.
I got DS9 in there. Yeah.
Yeah. It's Voyager. Captain Janeway.
Jill can have a Voyager.
There were some really good episodes.
My Voyager, it's only going to have 3 episodes because there's 3 episodes of Voyager. I watched all of Voyager.
The Q episodes.
The 3 episodes with Q in it. And I'm done. Okay, you know what? And I want the Salamander episode in there too. Outside of that.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Outside of that, we'd be good to go. So, there it is. It'll be linked in the show notes. Go play around with it. All right, that's going to do us for this week. Thanks for stopping by. If you get to watch us live over on twitch.tv, it's just Linux Gamecast. That's where we hide. Jill, tell them how to get to our YouTube channel.
Okay, you go at YouTube, you type in the @ LINWDW. LINWDW, short for Linux Weekly Daily Wednesday.
Sounds legit.
And it's hard to say.
LinWDW. I mean, I mean, so is LWDW. We've just been saying it for so long.
Yes. That's why we just kept that name and it stuck because it's unique and no one has that name.
They did on YouTube.
Yeah.
Somebody had LWDW.
Yeah, it's short for a life thing. I forget what it is, but
not on YouTube. It's just some rando with an empty account, man. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Probably the easiest way to find us, you're probably listening. There's a video component to the show. And by that, I mean, we record the thing live and put the entire thing up. LinuxGamecast.com, where you can find the Linux Gamecast podcast for the internet. The oldest, the biggest, the baddest Linux gaming podcast available. Why? Because nobody else wants to do one, apparently, after 13 years. I was like, if you would ask me 13 years ago, I'd be like, then you would have told me the Steam Deck came out. And I'm like, yeah, there'll be a bunch of like Linux shows talking about gaming. Like, we're still waiting on that. Anyway, LinuxGamecast.com. Come check us out. That's where you can find LWDW as well. You can just click on that. Podcast information available under the podcast thing where podcast information stored. We're on everything.
All the things.
Everything.
Apple Podcasts, Pandora, all the things.
All
Spotify.
you home lab people out there, self-hosted podcast.
Yeah.
Self-hosted. Which brings us to our next thing, patreon.com.
Yes.
If you'd like to help out with that and all the other things that we do, we greatly appreciate it. Become one of our beautiful party patrons, like so many people in chat right now. You get access to the live and uncut version of the show in podcast format. You get a video version of the show, no commercials, no YouTube. You can just download it just for you. Higher quality audio, higher quality video, access to our super secret Discord, name in the credits, and a couple other things. We got a bunch of tiers over there, and we appreciate each and every one of you for making it possible, letting us do the type of show that we like doing, which is for the fun of it.
Yeah.
We love doing LWW. The old school doing a podcast because you want to.
Yeah.
Not because you're trying to make a business. You're not trying to sell anything. We're just like, you want to talk about some cool Linux stuff? Yeah. All right, let's do it. That's why we've been around for so long and we ain't going anywhere. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is time once again to get that music bouncing.
Yeah.
And check those
Time
credits.
to thank our beautiful patrons, including our advisor, Theron, who is in chat now, and our executive producers, Barbrandt, Scott, Atomic, 12345, KR Ducky, our Chicago Kicks Mules level, which is Glorious Egg Roll, Basil, Empty, our Sea Monsters, John, Dirty Dean, Dementor, System T, some of our Death Notes, Chad, Romero, Turnover, Martin, our Chairlings. We got Mir PPC in chat and Community Tea Time in chat.
That's two.
That's true, I know.
We're getting there. We're getting there. Don't lose faith. All right, you beautiful Linux loving miscreants. Rest of the week still hanging out and waiting to be gotten into. So I hope you have a fun time doing it. Jordan and Sandy will be back tomorrow for some Baldur and Gate mystery adventure time. I'll be back on Friday for rounds and RPG Trackmania craziness. You can join in on that if you want. And of course, Saturday, Linux Gamecast right back here on Twitch. 8 p.m. Swing by, say moo. We might moo back at you.
Yeah.
All right. Is that it? That's pretty good. And you know what? You don't need to reset your Steam password, but if you listen this far, you might as well go ahead and do it. But while you're doing that, install Steam Mobile Authenticator. All right?
Yeah.
There we go.
Yes, absolutely.
Bye, everybody. See you next
Bye,
week.
everyone.